My team is minus 76 with a 1-4 record. They've scored 55 points total. They have 10 turnovers this year. The 2016 Patriots had 11 turnovers the entire regular season. So they're one behind the 2016 Patriots for turnovers. I did my power poll mostly to see where I would put them, and I have them 30th. I think Carolina was 32nd and Denver is 31st because Denver's defense, they're giving up 181 points. Even the Jets can get to, mid-high 20s against them. But New England, it's Carolina, Denver, New England, probably Chicago, maybe the Giants, maybe Arizona. I think there's 6 teams that are going to be in this Caleb Williams sweepstakes. And the question that I was texting my friends about today is just like, it's time, right? Like if we're ever going to have a chance to get another franchise quarterback, this season seems like it's wide open. They have a really tough schedule. They've had injuries on defense already. They have the worst offense in the league other than maybe Carolina. And I can't think of a single reason why this team would think it has a chance to compete because it's not going to be able to. They got absolutely annihilated by New Orleans today. Annihilated. The game was over immediately. Mac is unplayable. They have, I would say, one of the 4 worst lines in the league. They have no skill position guys you would write home about. And the defense got worse because of the injuries. I just don't see a path for them not to be like 3-14. So why not embrace it? Why not trade a couple guys and try to bottom out? I think this is the year to do it.
I'm with you, but you don't want to say it's the coach. I mean, Dennis Allen came into your coach's house and stole his girlfriend while he was playing Miss Pac-Man. Like it was crazy that he just, that was my stay away on Ringer Wise guys today. I said, this is crazy. This is insane, guys. Patriots were embarrassed. The Saints, who have trouble scoring just as much, are coming to Gillette. This is Dennis Allen against Belichick. And this is in the tic-tac zone. Like it's fluctuating between -1 and +1. And I think instead of doing a power poll, like I was curious what you thought about as far as I feel like they have no identity, right? Like, so what percent of this team resembles the Brady team? I think last year you could have still said 40% or 30%. Now it's got to be down to almost 0. Like
I don't think you could have said it last year either, because remember all the dumb, sloppy shit that was happening last year? I think this is year 5 of dating back to Brady's last season of like, man, this doesn't seem like a Belichick team. We've been saying that for 5 years. He's in his early 70s. I've talked to a lot of people. I talked on my podcast on Thursday. I think this is his last year as coach. I felt that way before the game today. And I think for at least to coach the Patriots, I think this is going to be it.
Someone else is going to take him? What does he offer to another team?
I think Mayo is going to be the coach. They're either going to, he's going to retire or they'll fire him or he'll go to another team.
He can't go
however it plays out.
Yeah.
The win total thing is really interesting though, because everybody's like, he's going to hold on until the record. Yeah. Well, do the math. Shula has 347. It's the regular season and the playoffs combined. That's what they're calling the record, which is interesting because it kind of favors the more modern coaches. But Shula's 347. Belichick is 330. He's got 299 regular season and 31 playoffs. And the thinking is, well, he needs 18 more to pass Shula.
It's a lot now.
Team, this is a 4-win team. So throw this year out. Now we got to hope like, can it be a 10-year team? Even if you say he stays on the Pats,
right,
it might be like another 3.5 years, right? Like he's going to have to jump to another team. Here's the other thing, and I haven't heard anybody mention this. So Andy Reid is at 273. He is 57 behind Belichick right now. He's got 251 regular season, 22 playoffs. And you think he's going to gain another 10 this year. So by the end of this year, he'll be like mid-30s away from Belichick. He's 6 years younger than him, and he's got Mahomes. He's going to go 12-5, 13-4 every single year for the next 4, plus 2 to 4 playoff wins. He's going to pass Belichick in 5-6 years. I think if Belichick wants that record, he also has to worry about the Andy Reid part, and it's not going to happen in New England. Like I said Thursday, Chargers or Washington. Chargers is where if you really want to keep the record and move it along, you got to attach to Justin Herbert. But from what the other owners have watched with this Pats team, where you're like, oh my God, we have a chance to get Belichick.
Yeah, right. I'm looking as you say this at like, Andy Reid's going to have a nice ending to his number if he should pass Shula. Shula himself, 11-5, 9-7, 10-6, 9-7. So he didn't have the problem Belichick has of like, 3 or 4 wins. It's like a baseball. Can I compare someone to baseball? But it's like a baseball player who's hitting 240 as a 38-year-old trying to stick around to get his 3,000th hit.
Right. He's like Miguel Cabrera on the Tigers, trying to just kind of hang on. Yeah, I think it's going to be, he's in a division with Josh Allen. He's in a conference with Allen and Mahomes and Burrow and Herbert. And the smart move would be to switch franchises heading into next season if he wants a record and try to do it that way. It's time for a divorce. And I guarantee Kraft wants to bottom out this year and get a top 5 pick. This is one of the best QB classes, probably like one of the 3 best of the century. I was watching Caleb Williams last night. That guy's fucking amazing. You get that guy, it's like you're basically getting Mahomes.
And that was a terrible Caleb Williams game, by the way, if you look at his stats. But the 2 touchdowns he scored, the one in overtime.
Amazing.
And,
he's an electric football player.
Really good.
And Drake May, and I know there's some other people that people like.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: Would those guys take the Patriots to the play? Would Patrick Mahomes might take the Patriots to the playoffs? What other quarterbacks would take the Patriots to the? I know, it's fun to blame Mac Jones, but what other quarterbacks would take them to the playoffs this year? Like that's just a piece of it. I think what
Herbert's Chargers team is not really any better or worse than the Pats. You think like Mike Williams is already out.
Really?
Eckler's played 1 game. Their defense sucks. Their coach is worse than Belichick, right?
Yeah.
And they went 2-2, and they're probably going to be at least 500 because he single-handedly made them competitive. So I would put him on there.
I don't know, man. I don't know what happened to your team today. 316 yards for the Saints. That's not even like. But how do you lose 34-0 when the other team had 300 yards? It's very weird.
It's a turnover machine offensively, and defensively they lost their best cornerback and their best pass rusher. Yeah. I think it being a home game was actually bad for them. The crowd got bummed out immediately. It just went from bad to worse. Derek Carr started getting confidence. Kamara always kills them for some reason, but yeah, I think if you're going first coach fired, is Belichick one of the 3 coaches now? I can't believe I'm saying this. I feel like I'm going to get struck by lightning, but we're just talking about 2023. Like this is the reality of the situation.
It's funny. You and I we'd always go over this in the beginning of the year, and he was always like 100-1. And I said, he could get arrested for something. I mean, it is evil. Yeah, he has to. Yeah. There's always that factor. But yeah, now it's just on its merits. Eberflus would be the favorite right now. I haven't seen these numbers in a while, though.
There were rumors that if they lost that Thursday night game, he was going to get bounced because they had like 10 days, but they won. Rivera, I think, is always in the mix, especially if you watch that Thursday game. Belichick and then Brandon Staley, I think, would be the other one. But I can't believe Belichick's even in that conversation. But I think the Andy Reid piece of it is really underrated because...
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't looked at that.
That might be 70 to 75 wins for the next 5 years for him, just with being teamed up with Mahomes.
So do you think Belichick's looking at that like, all right, you know what? What does this matter? If my record, which is Shula's record, is going to be bounced in 4 years, what do I care? I have to watch that as an 80-year-old happen. Maybe you're right. Maybe that's it. Maybe
I think he cares. I think he's like a historian of the game. Also, the thing with Kraft, that can't be understated because the Brady thing was a huge, a huge thing between them. And Kraft wanted to take care of Brady, and Belichick wanted to move on and thought he was an old player. And that became a, pretty divisive thing that did not work out.